Hey everybody, it is Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today I'm going to show you step-by-step live how you can do a very large painting using two 18 by 24 canvases. This is going to be a winter floral. I'm going to be showing you guys how to create it step-by-step. This goes to our large previous just general floral that we did, but I did make this a little more one hoot because so many of you said, I want to paint big too. And I'd like it to be like super beginner friendly. So I was like, no problem. Let's just make one that is gorgeous, that is fantastic, would look good in your home, and is still really easy enough to do if you're very new to painting. So this is a very friendly, very easy step-by-step painting. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hey, guys.
As many of you have found out this morning, he helps me in all things. He helps me explore my imagination and express my humor. And also he helps me in this show by tracking me with one of our many robotic cameras and zooming into what I'm doing. So you can see me mix the paint. You can see me execute the techniques. And that's really your best path to being able to execute them for yourself at home. Now, if you're brand new to painting and you're wondering if you can do this, I really want to tell you you can. Everything in art is doable. It's just a skill. It's just a technique. It's just a process. And you can learn how to do it. So I want you to be really optimistic, but also be kind to yourself. And hop on in and let's just get right on into this painting.
Okay.
All right. So here we go. We're going to turn around. Boy, it's a big boy.
Yeah, it is. Big canvas.
So these are the two 18 by 24, which I guess makes them 24 by 36 when it's all said and done on the size. Now, I buy these from Michael's, and I get them in the 2-pack. A lot of the sales going on right now, the door-busting deals and stuff like that, makes these almost more economical than buying the black gesso and painting them black yourself. But guess what? You can paint them black yourself if you'd like to. You can do these in different sizes. You can do them bigger. You can do them smaller. I've got an example piece right here, right? That's just small, right? And it's still lovely and it still works. And what's great is each painting is enjoyable. So you can take this away and each person can enjoy their painting if you're doing this with a friend. So that's the concept behind this. Now let's get into the acrylic paint. I have the colors, phthalo blue, phthalo green, cad yellow medium, titanium white, carbon black. Really, I should use Mars black because this black paint is Mars black, but that's the paint I grabbed, so that's what we're doing. Cadmium red and yellow ochre. I've got my 2 little jars of water, and I'm going to start out by using chalk to kind of sketch in a couple elements. Now, after this video, for those of you that are not feeling comfortable with the drawing part, but I want you to know for a beginner drawing, this is very friendly. Even if you're at the stick figure level and you tell your friends, I don't even do stick figures, this is still very doable for you. But if you're not comfortable with that, there'll be a traceable right after and a step-by-step. Now, I'm going to use a special art tool, one of my very favorites.
What's that?
It's chalk. This is a fantastic tool, honored by artists across centuries. And the reason it's wonderful is it allows me to explore some designs, to sketch things in loosely, and be able to erase with just a damp brush and water. Now, the first part of this is I'm going to come to the center part of the canvas, and I'm going to make myself my first pillar candle. Let's come out to not quite to the halfway point, but let's come out a good wide bit. See that right there? And I can give you the exact measurement if I haven't painted on my ruler too much. Let's say about 7 inches out is what I'm doing right here. That seems doable, right?
Yeah.
And you notice that there's a slight curve to that line. And then this line I'm going to want to bring up and down, straight up and down as much as I can. Just taking that down. Oh, look at that. I has candle. I am an artist of candles. So today we take on multi-$100,000 concept art and we do a wonderful still life for your home because we do it all here. Now this candle I decided would look really wonderful, fat and chunky. And then this one over here, I wanted it to be a little bit skinnier. So I'm not going to take it out quite as far as its friend, but I'm going to bring it up from the first candle. This is a taller pillar. Now, many of you wanted a third candle, and if you're going to do that, I suggest that you do it across the bridge. But I just felt like for the beginning artist, that wouldn't be as fun, and I wanted to make sure that they got something on their wall today. So if you're one of our 3 hoop painters and you feel a particular design adjustment calling you, go ahead and go for that. I am never offended by that. That's always fine by me. And the candles are really, if you don't know, they're going to absolutely line up there. So that's really all I kind of need to know for that. And then it's nice to sit there and say to yourself, I'm going to have some pine branches, right? We need pine branches that will come out and show off our surface. And I'm going to make little lines because this is a little bit bigger than the first one. So doing a couple branches will probably look better on a bigger surface, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And these are little places that I'll be putting the pines. So you can see how I just loosely sketched that out. I'm very relaxed about it. Now back here above the candlelight, we could put a little pine bough kind of coming up. And we know we've got a bit of a glow, don't we? That's going to be happening right here. So that just lets us know that we might want to fill in that space above that glow. I'm not wearing my glasses, but I'm okay because I'm in my zone of vision that I've got. So this too is going to be right there. That's lovely. Let's give ourselves a little pine guide over here. Say we need a little branch here, maybe a branch there, maybe a branch there could look really good. And then some pine branches here. And again, up, and then a couple that go like that. So that's all we've got to really worry about on this pre-sketch. Now, I'm going to start with my pines before I put my pillars in too much, but I do want to get a layer on my pillars. So let's put out our cadmium red, as one does. You could use hue or any red that you have. It won't ruin the piece in any way.
Well, I'm going to come over here and just jump in while you're putting some paint out.
And
I'm going to say we have an awesome community out here with us.
You have the best community.
Beck just came out and she said, you are amazing. Gave a nice big sticker to you. So thank you, Beck.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. We do, the stuff that we do on this channel really is at the grace of you guys. It comes from stuff like your shares and telling your friends. I get fueled by those comments, those nice comments, the thumbs up, all that positivity, the way you guys put it out on social media, and always remember to tag me back. And then, of course, by the support of our patrons here in Super Chat and on our website, makes all of the wildness that we get to do really possible. And I couldn't do it without you. Like, I mean, I could do it, but it would be a lot smaller and much less often. Completely different deal. I'm going to tell you all the colors I'm putting out right after I get them out, so you just know which ones are what and where they are. Now, I like to put out a little bit of my burnt sienna now because it does a great job, not only of making twigs, but to darken green, as you might want. And I'll go ahead and put out a little of my cad yellow, just in the early days. We'll get more of this stuff out as we go. Now, this is a much bigger canvas than I normally paint. And when you're painting a much bigger canvas, it's a good idea to use a larger brush. So I'm going to get a number 30 short-handled brush here. And I don't know where my towels went. Hold on just one second.
Do you need to go find you some towels?
No, you just put them to the side here so I'm going to get them back.
Oh,
there
Sherpa
we go.
duck.
They were within reach. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to take a little bit of the black into my red. Just a smidge. Okay, guys, I'm just darkening it a bit. And I'm going to begin to paint down here the base of my pillars with this big brush. When you paint a bigger surface, you do want to scale up your brushes a bit.
See, you fooled me. I thought you said you were going to start with the branches.
I was, but I was like, I got to get some red in here just to get it going. I like to fool everyone with that. I like to be very tricky and confusing.
She'll say, I'm going to paint in the upper right-hand corner.
And then paint in the lower left-hand corner.
Yeah, certainly.
Now, that could just be that I'm not telling my right from my left on that particular day.
Yeah, or your ups and downs.
Any of those things. It's all very subjective, right? And then he'll be like, no, it's not subjective. It might be relative, but it's not subjective.
At least you are literally accurate.
There we go.
But
I do what I can.
Don't count on that here either, because
Don't.
we literally don't know what we're talking about.
We do metaphorically. Now notice that I'm doing something very important here. I'm curving this brush stroke, even as I'm getting this first layer of paint on. And this is really layer 1. This is going to help my candle feel very, very warm and nice. I don't have to take this all the way up to the top because I'm going to be coming up with bright colors and lighting the glow. But it's just important to get a couple layers of the pillars in.
You're still in your undercoat, right?
Yep. This is our first coat, which is just a smidge of black and a little bit of red. It should give you a dark kind of brick color. All right. And look, I'm not having to be too neat and precious about it.
Yeah.
But I do want to kind of stay inside my lines a little bit. For those of you that noticed, the live stream is started back over at the Art Sherpa Retreat channel. Hang in, some stuff is going to happen there. And be sure you know where your newsletters are, because we actually have news today.
That's right.
We have huge news.
So lots of good stuff. So if you guys are new to the Art Sherpa, you can jump over to theartsherpa.com, and if you sign up over there for an account, you'll get our email. You'll get an email from us, our newsletters. You can also sign up for our text messaging system. We have one of those. And you can find out
what we're doing, when we're doing, and where we're doing it.
You can find out all about all that stuff in the link in the description down below. Because that's where we hide all the good information.
We do like to hide our information in those links that YouTube provides us in the description.
As long as you promise not to tell anyone else,
where
all of the information is hidden right below in the link.
In the link. Where we keep it. Hidden.
Make sure to not
We
tell
might
anyone.
be cheeky. Look at that. Already you've got some pillar candles. Isn't that just wild?
That is pretty crazy. It's a big red candle.
It's a big red. Now, there's a lot of ways that we can do the pines. You can do pines with a round brush. I'm going to do it with my number 8 cat's tongue. You can do them with a filbert. This is a number 16 filbert. Really try to be a little flexible about these numbers. Very sad information that I have for you if you're new to painting. There's no standardized number system for the brushes. So number 16 in one brush line is not the same as a number 16 in another brush line. In fact, the number system isn't even the same across different brush types in a single brush line. Get your head wrap around that little crazy for a minute. So when you see me or another instructor talking about these brush sizes, also pay attention about how big the brush is in relationship to like my nail or my hand or other brushes. That will really help you not get tripped up by that part of the art world. Because the art world can be a little bit bonkers, as we explored today. So now I'm going to take a little bit of my burnt sienna, just a small amount, into my phthalo green on my number 8 cat's tongue. And I'm going to come up here where I know I'm going to have a little branch that's going to be peeking out. And on the toe of my brush, I'm going to make a little radial, kind of like a little fan of strokes that imply, can you see these little pine needle strokes?
Yeah. I'm trying to inhale my coffee.
Just definitely inhale your coffee.
It works much better when you try to drink it.
I don't know why you would do something crazy like drinking your coffee. That seems like you haven't really thought that process out.
I read there were more creative ways of getting your caffeine, but I'm not interested in that.
I feel like we've been pretty creative today.
I think I've been creative enough.
We may get sued, but we were creative. That's okay, guys. I am perfectly willing to stand on that fair use pile and fight it out. Tooth and nail. I'm a scrappy lady. So now as we come back here, I tend to get a little lighter with these pine needles because what I want to imply is that my candle here is so bright that we don't really see all of that. So it's okay to let that green sort of fade into the black. That will actually help you. Now let's put some here. It's about 2 passes of color to 3 passes of color on these pine branches to get them to look the way you might want them to look. And the reason we do that is in acrylic, it's really about our layers, isn't it? We got to layer our paint. We've got to kind of bring the layers and think about those things. You guys have been so great. I cannot tell you how great you are. If you have not seen our concept art upload, you really should. If you've ever wanted to do your own concept art, I mean, seriously, stuff sells for hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, but you can make your own at home that is every bit as valid as anyone else's. I mean, you too can make a gold toilet. It would be a very strange thing to do, but you could do it.
If you're studying conceptual art, I mean,
you should make a gold toilet.
well, I mean, you should at least understand the principles of gold toilet.
Right. Or be able to get in the good heated debate. Now, when you're talking about that type of art, my favorite artist is a man named Andy Goldsworthy. And if you have not looked him up, you should watch a movie called Rivers and Tides. It's a great introduction to what he does. And it demonstrates more than anything else that there are areas of concept artists that are spectacular that you do not need an art degree or a museum curator to explain because they are evident by their existence to everyone. And you'll be like, oh, wow, that man took sheep wool and a rock. And you wouldn't think it would be good, but it's so good.
I'm much more in the Duchamp camp.
Yeah, John very much likes the Dadaist. I like Beatrice Woods among the Dadaists, but John likes Duchamp. And he's pretty wonderful. It's a pretty fantastic conversation in art. And given everything that's going on right now, you may enjoy it very much. If you had not seen it. And actually, Duchamp did some really amazing installations and pieces that we should all be super thrilled about. Are you guys seeing how this is going in? I'm just on the tip of this brush. And look, I'm just going flick, 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 flick. Flick, 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 flick. Like flicka.
I have to say, the first time I saw Duchamp's work, I almost lost my marbles.
Oh, you're a cheeky boy. So I'm going to continue to paint these wonderful pine boughs while my husband makes fine art jokes. You know how like people are in like a weird dorky industry and then they have these like sort of insider jokes that are like relative if you like were at the place at that time at that con. Art world's just like that.
Yeah, it's just silly.
We don't let things go easily and we hold on to a thought or joke or an idea for a while.
Rebecca's supporting our humor here, so thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Rebecca.
What are
it's
you
bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-S.
I'm curious.
It's bananas, B-A-N-A-N. What?
It's so dark, it's almost invisible on this.
It is so dark, it's almost invisible, guys.
And that's, I mean, like, I can see it in the sheet.
I know it's frustrating to see it right now, but when you look at it with a naked eye, this depth, when you're a new artist, one of the things that you don't know that you can do first day that you paint is create depth within your painting by layering color, right? Chances are, if you haven't painted since kindergarten, you can probably go stroke, 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 right? You're like, yeah, that's kind of, I probably could do that in some kind of way, right?
Yeah.
But what you want to do, I might bring some of these up here kind of in the middle. I think they're nice to bring some dark ones in a few places. See, I'm just really filling it up. Fill it up. You want to fill it up. Now, I don't want to get quite into the red of the candle yet because I still want one more layer of dark value on the candle. I'm just doing my little pine boughs, just getting those first layers in. Look at them. They're just in, aren't they?
So you've got a lot of the white chalk showing through.
Yeah.
Is that going to be any issue?
No, because I just come back with the wet brush and it goes away.
Okay.
Once the paint is dry, don't go over the wet paint. Then you just move your wet paint with everything else. But you can see I can come along the red. And there, it's gone.
Oh, nice.
right now here, while I'm here, I'm going to take a little bit of my black and more of my red, and I'm going to make quite the darkest color probably in my candle. And the reason this is so dark is that it's quite low, away from the light, and shaded by things. You don't want black. You do want it to still be red, right? But you need it to be very, very dark. So that when you put your pine needles on top of it, that's taking too long. And I don't like to be fussy. I'm going to get into my big brush and work that up. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Why struggle? Boom. Look at that. Big strokes. And that's a very good illustration on why you don't want to use too small of a brush to work an area on a bigger canvas. If you use too small of a brush, you work a lot harder for much less result. Just bringing that up here. See how we're just laying that up?
Mm-hmm.
Now I can come in and even get just a little more dark down here. Not all the way black, but it's quite dark. And this will help when we put my pine boughs in front of the candle. It'll feel very layered. That curved stroke, though, keep that going. Don't give up on that. You're going to want to rinse this out. I'm going to go ahead and get some just red here. Start to brighten the pillar of my candle coming up, as we might want to. Look at that.
Okay. So I just got a question from Robin here.
Hi, Robin. How are you doing, doll?
Good. She's having trouble seeing the contrast of those pine boughs on the black surface.
On her own canvas or on my canvas?
On yours. So could I grab a white one for you and then just have you show her real quick those? Because I got one right over here.
You got, what do you mean?
Oh, can I grab you a white surface so you can show her that technique? That's what she was asking.
Would you guys like to see that technique on a white surface?
That's what they just asked for.
Okay,
I got one. I got one for you. Hold on.
You got one for me? Let me demo that. I'm so happy to demo that for you. That's a very good idea. Just anyone. We got a surplus. He's opening it right now. Get rid of some of my chalk as I'm working. Maybe tighten up the edge line of my candle here. See me tightening up this edge line with my smaller brush that gives me a little more detail, right? And I can take my smaller brush and make a nice transitional blend. That's wonderful. All right. We're going to use this big one here. Okay. Maybe not the one I would have picked, but all right.
So because you have such a big surface.
All right. So here we go. This is what we're doing. So when you have a pine bough, right? So I've got my little implied line. What I'm going to do is I come to the end of what is the bough on the toe of whatever brush I have, and I'll show you with 3 different brushes how to do this. Okay? So you guys realize this is not, you got to have the magic. I think my cat's tongue brush is magic, but you don't got to have it. You just flare, it's line, and you come through, and you layer back as you go.
You could do this with the cheeky corner of a square brush or a round brush.
Right, and as you go back, you thicken up these little pine boughs, right? Thicken, so that they're a little thicker as they come back. Let's show you with, do I have a round here? Well, I got a square right here. Let me show you. This is just a number 6 bright. So see, this is a square. I could come here, and on this edge of the brush, same thing. You guys see it?
Yeah.
So there's that one. I showed y'all a filbert earlier. Let me show you a filbert here. This is number 4 Raphael. No, it's Isabey filbert. So filberts are kind of similar to my cat's tongues. A little different, which is why we designed a brush that was different, but you can see for the purposes of this,
it's got a little softer edge.
Just a little bit. But is the pine bough suffering for that edge?
No.
Whenever I look at an art tool, when I say that they're super exchangeable, it means that I don't feel like the piece will suffer for the difference between my tool and your tool. I mean, I could probably do this with a fan brush. Y'all want to see one with a fan brush?
Mm.
I think the fan brush would do it pretty quick. In fact, I've painted a lot of pine trees with a fan, but I haven't painted a pine bough with a fan. But if I were to do it, first time ever in my life this way, I'd probably come here and make a line. And I would do this.
Yeah, that fan does some cool stuff.
Right? So different way of getting there, but you can kind of tell what it is, can't you? Are we worried? We're not worried. Look at us go. And what's great about my fan is it's already kind of fanned out. So it makes a really nice kind of little sprucey looking dude. Fan brush. Just, I go through and do more, but hopefully that gives you guys the kind of base idea of how that is working. Now, once I have that, I've taken that nice time to do that, I can come back with my green and my brown, and then I can come here. And now I can very easily go over the red. You can kind of see it a little bit better with the red, can't you?
Yeah.
The beginning of the pine boughs that are here. Making some pine boughs. These are our distant ones. We don't got to be super precious about them. We just want to make sure that we have this base of needles that we are doing our composition off of.
Now, can you go over the greens that you have laid out there?
So I have here phthalo green, right? And I have burnt sienna.
Okay. And that green over on the right is just burnt sienna and phthalo green mixed.
Yep.
Okay.
Just a little bit of burnt sienna and phthalo green mixed. I haven't even got my yellow involved yet. So when we do this, we just take a little bit of our burnt sienna into our phthalo green, and it almost gives us a hunter or hooker kind of green. You know, it's just a little deeper. And I'm going to do this deep value through here as well. Look at us go. Just that first layer, right? Are we stressed by the size of the canvas? No, but something I got to tell you about working a big canvas, guys, when you're new to painting, it can be a little physically demanding, and it's okay if you need rest. Take that time, rest when you need to rest.
Sip coffee.
Are you guys still with me, even though our pine boughs are quite dark because they're about to pop out? I'm worried now.
They look good.
Okay.
No, so what it is that you can see the contrast of them on the screen, but you lose the subtlety of that brush stroke, and because it's so dark.
What happens when you do this first layer is the subsequent layers that come up will pop. Like I can see what it looks to me when we go to the big view that I can't see any of these at all. So I am worried about you.
Yeah, you
but
can't.
If John's got you, he's got you.
In there you can't see the contrast because the screens are so bright. So that's part of the.
Okay, so they're catching some of what we're doing there.
There's a lot of contrast here in it. The issue is that it's not as strong as it is when you put it on a white surface.
Oh, it's so good when you put it on a white surface. But it looks like $1,000,000 when you do it on one of these dark surfaces.
Yeah, Robin said thank you. We totally got what she was looking for.
Okay, cool. That is our whole thing, man. We are about giving y'all what you need. Now I'm going to do a similar thing that I did before, and I want it to be a little bit tack dry by the time I get there with my pine boughs. So I'm going to come down here and just make sure that this pillar candle is also dark. By the way, this candle technique works on all candles. Whenever you're painting a candle, especially decoratively like we are right now, you're going to want a glow value up here at the top that travels down in almost a curve. And then as you move down your pillar, it's going to get darker and darker and darker.
That makes sense.
So this will work in any color pillars. It will work on any of your future paintings. If you decide to do your own candle painting in the future and you want it to look really good, guess what? The technique travels. I try to make sure that you guys learn a lot of techniques that will travel with you as you go. That they will work for you into the future. All right, and then as we come up, we can get a little more into our red. Bring that down. Isn't that great? Big brushes, whatever big brush that you have will be fine. And if you have a smaller brush, you know what it will be different? Time. It will take you longer. You know, it's like running a foot race. If you're a lot shorter, it's not that you're not running the same foot race. It's just maybe you're taking some more steps.
They were asking if you were to trying to take pictures of this.
Oh, you mean the step-by-steps? I already actually have that. I did that with the first one, but we were like so crazed I did not get the thing built this morning. So the traceable and the step-by-steps will be on the website immediately after. We just also have this very important newsletter coming out with this really cool announcement of this amazing thing that happened, and I'm super excited about it. I definitely want to share with you. And then also this new video project over in the Art Sherpa page that's going to immediately start after this live. So exciting things in my mind.
There's some exciting things. I mean, we have before we can play, we got to finish our work.
That's right. Before we can play, we got to finish our work. Not laundry. Don't say something crazy to me like laundry. But, you know, artwork for sure. I got to do my artwork. I'm absolutely skipping the housework. That's not going to be happening today. Don't get crazy with me. So just pulling these little pines out. And here we go. We've got some more happening here, don't we?
Yeah.
And it just takes a minute to get this first layer in. Once the first layers are in, this piece actually comes together shockingly, alarmingly fast.
Yeah.
And I was actually going to ask you a favor. I thought of an easier way to do these little berries, but I would need you to grab me my Q-tips and some rubber bands. We get those during the live. I'll show them just the easier way to get these berries done, which will look fantastic. Really good. So just getting those little pine needles in. Notice I just want to get the basis of them in. It's the detail that's about to come that really forms the basis of these boughs, and I just want to make sure that when we're looking at it, when you're looking at it, that there's this sense of greenery that is afoot for you. And, you know, I mean, that just takes a minute to build, right? There we go, just a little bit more pine boughs that have put themselves here and our candles are nestled in. Sometimes I think it's nice to kind of really build up where they're nestled. And this is like the strokes have this texture, but you don't really have to worry about it too much, guys, because it's not until we get these highlights going, which we're about to do, that it gets crazy real. Are you ready?
Yes.
So as I'm going, I'm going to pull out a little bit of my green, and let's put some white out on our surface. Isn't it interesting? We haven't used any white, have we? Usually we use twice as much white as any other color that we have. Like when you buy paint, you need twice as much white as any other color you have. So I'm going to take a little bit of my cad yellow that you have, and I'm going to get some of my titanium white, and I'm going to give myself some lovely, delicious, spectacular little pine boughs. Now, I'm a little more considered. Look at that. Same stroke, just a little bit more considered. You can get a little more into your green if you want. You can change these colors up, and you can layer fairly well. You can see I still do get big as I go back. And then as I go back into my dark area, I will lighten the stroke so that when I put the glow here, the bow kind of blends into it. On the tip of my brush, right? Little finer lines. You can come get more yellow, more green. You can kind of change that up. Don't feel like you're stuck. You're just going through these colors, right? Just creating these little more highlighted little branches, which you can now probably really see. Now again, back here to the candle, what do? I really lighten it up because I want this to just be behind the flame and sort of lightened up. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Did we get a crew today, or did everyone go, that banana is the last straw? That's the last peel.
Yeah, we've had no, we've had a bunch of people out here. I'm actually over here getting some things loaded up here. Oh my gosh, we got like over 600 people here hanging out right now.
Aren't you guys excited to do this? This is going to look gorgeous. And right now, everything is on sale, so it's like the perfect time to do it. And the paintings that you do, once you kind of get the sense of doing these, we're going to do all 4 seasons. I was asked for that. So, you know, we did our fall one. I've got this winter one. I'll do a spring and summer one. And that way you guys can change out your big decorative paintings for the seasons of the year. Maybe even throw in some holiday ones for you guys, because I think these things are really fun to do. And it's really nice to have seasonal artwork. It's something my mom and I always had, and we never really thought about how special it is. Because we're artists, and we're like, you need a painting, you do a painting. That's what you do. If you need a painting for the sofa or new decor or whatever, you just paint it. Nobody gets upset about it.
Yeah.
So you can see when I'm just trying to blend it in, what I do is I lighten my brush strokes and I get that kind of fluffiness. Yes, it's so fluffy. So you're going to feel definitely the work out of the painting. Pace yourself. Be aware that this is somewhat physically demanding. It just is. A little bit physically demanding. But you don't mind, do you?
No, not at all.
Not at all. John's speaking for you guys now. He's like, no, not at all. They're good. You guys probably are good. You guys are always good. I have to say that I have loved all of the concept fruit art that's been submitted to group today. We're going to continue to put those through.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are geniuses. And honestly, I've seen a couple pieces that could have been turned in my art school and gotten some good grades.
Yeah, no, there's
been invited to some exhibits. I saw a couple pieces. I'm like, this could get in an exhibit.
I've been very happy that we've been able to have this conversation with our community. It's been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to how it continues to mature and over time we'll see how it evolves.
Yes. Now this is kind of a lighter little pine bough. So I want to, if you'll notice here, I'm very light with these strokes. Like I'm just stroking these out. I'm not pressing very hard. You can see my brush isn't really bending. And so that lets me put a little distant, light, not as intense pine bough. So I'm going to put a little one right here. A little more detailed, central to the canvas. Gonna come out here, I think. I always like to get more paint. It's always fun for me to find some more paint and, get that. Now, as I'm going to come down, I can come back and I'm going to add some highlights into these boughs where the light's hitting them. If you did the 3-hoot tree landscape with me, really similar concepts. Even on these 1-hoot paintings, you're learning concepts that you will carry with you for all the paintings you do, like things that are near the radius and influence of light, how they will be affected. It's a 1-hooter, it's friendly for beginners, but you're still learning the concepts of painting, which is kind of like my whole jam. Just make sure that this is very pine boughy and fluffy. And now, as you scale surfaces, depending on their aspect ratios, you may need to remove or add pine boughs just for balance. Don't be stressed by that. It's okay. But again, if you want to just do exactly this, we're going to have a traceable. Wonderful, wonderful. Now, while I'm here, I can finish this off a bit and go into my yellow. There, right there. And I'm going to get some of this very bright green. And where these would see some light. See how I'm just kind of giving them a little kiss where they would see some light from the candle surface. Up here a bit. Would see some light right here, wouldn't it? Just imagine that this is a radiating out. Where would it give your pine boughs some light? This will also help you get a better glow, right? Maybe a little bit more underneath this part of the bough and a little bit more on that inside part of the bough, isn't it? These are just the little highlighted pine needles. And I feel like here and here, just a touch, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Look at that go. There and there. Isn't it almost like it's already lit? Kiss a little bit right there. So how I do is I imagine this radiating out in my mind mentally, even though I'm not using a reference. And I'll kiss a couple of the things that I know might see. And then it's less and less and less as it goes out, right? It's this drop-off point of light. Aha! We're geniuses. A little bit. Now down here, you could see a little bit of the light. Maybe not as strong, but you would still see a little bit of the glow a couple places here that it could catch, that it might drop down on, okay? So it's all right to put a few of those around. Are you feeling pretty proud of yourself? Right here. I'm going to get some of my Cad Red.
Oh, this is where you're putting the bright part in.
Yeah. We're here. It's dry. Why not? Still on my number 8 cat's tongue. Still carrying that brush stroke on the curve. I'm going to take that curve down a bit. See how I'm doing?
Yeah.
That looks pretty good. Now get some of your yellow involved. Don't leave it out. It needs to get into this mix here. And I'm going to come right here and start to lighten my pillar. Look at that. Boom, 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 boom. We're not even intimidated, are we?
No.
No, we're not. We are artists. We do what we gotta do. And this little bit of glow makes a huge difference to how your candle is gonna look and feel. Doesn't it already look a little bit glowy? While I'm here, I know that I'm going to take a little bit of my white and a smidge of my yellow. And I'm going to give myself hopefully a straight little wick. Straight little wick. And to get some just yellow. And come right here, touching just yellow. See that? Just a little bit of that yellow. It really brightens that glow, doesn't it? Just right there, not too far down. What about that far down? Get into my little orange here. I'm going to make a mark here and here on either side of my wick. Can you guys see those marks?
Yeah, let me zoom in on those a little bit.
Okay, we're going to do this flame. Now the flame, I'm going to kind of mimic this, and then you're going to see me do it, is what's called an S curve, which means it has a little bit of a shape like an S stroke. That's doable. And then as I come here, I'll round it back out and sort of fill this in. Now what you're going to notice is that I leave that space around the wick untouched. Yes. Yes, we do. All this needs to have a rest for a minute. Guess what we get to do? Come over here and do some more of this nonsense. So I'm going to just, since I was working on the candle, come over and continue to work on my pillars. Bringing down that pure cad red. Pure cad red, pure cad red. Pulling it down. Now with these, you can frame them and hang them next to each other. And then the two framed pieces together make a whole bigger piece. It's really quite spectacular when it's all done. So that's like the great thing that you get to do with that, is like framing it and putting it together. And you can see I'm just continuing that curved imperative highlighting. Look at that go! We're just whipping through here, aren't we? Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. This is terrific. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Lighting up and loving up the light on the candle. Taking that down a little bit, isn't that fun? It just creates this little center pull down the surface. I grab a little of my yellow and some of my red here, and I'm going to begin to create that bright hot spot. That looks pretty good. It's getting there. Used to dry a little bit so we can keep layering it, but we're starting to see where it's going to go. We can take this moment and go ahead and grab some of our wick mix, which is a little bit of our titanium white and yellow, and we're going to go ahead and think about this little wick. That went well, didn't it? And then back into what is our S curve. So I added a little yellow and a little red. Well, let's do this again. We know we've got these two spots where the flame starts to happen around the candle. I'm going to take this brush stroke, curve out to the right and to the left and then up, and that's going to create my flame shape. Woo! Whoops, I got a little crazy there, guys. That's going to be a really excited flame.
I got a little wind.
It did, and that's okay. Like sometimes that'll happen where I'm like, and since I did that there, I'm going to do that over there because I actually think it looks pretty cool. Sometimes I'll do something and I'm like, I is like that. More of it would be wonderful for me. All right, here we go. Okay, now we've got to highlight that. To do that, I'm going to definitely need some green. And since I haven't gotten into my blue yet, I'm going to take this time and mist my paint so it doesn't dry out on me. This is just a micro mister. Doesn't do big particulates. And you guys kind of remember how this goes. It's a little bit of the green and yellow and white and this, and we're getting those pine needle effects. So let's effect it up. All around around all these pine needles.
There we go.
Did you find the Q-tips in my bands, baby?
I've been multitasking. I know where the Q-tips are.
Oh,
I'm just
okay,
not
there
sure
we
the
go.
bands
I could
are.
probably even finger hold them if I had to.
Okay.
I mean, it would be tough and suck, but I could deal. And I won't recommend it for anyone else. There we go. We've got that going in. It's just when we get to the berries, which is a minute off. It's a good minute off. It's not an emergency on. Just talking to you about it. Okay, so we're going to do this all the way through here. It's a great time to take questions from the community while we're painting in the many needles of green.
Let me go over here, and I am this is such a big surface that I have been really busy jumping around here.
I bet it does seem like this is film-wise so much more challenging than our regular videos. I can't even imagine anyone even knows what it takes for you to be able to get those in.
Okay, got good questions.
Good questions. Thank you all.
So, if you were framing this as two separate pieces to gift, would it be better to paint it on a canvas or a board? I've never had any of my paintings framed.
Probably easier to frame it on a stretch canvas. These come in packs. They're economical. So the purchase of it will be easier for you. Then you go over to the framing section. I think they have Aaron Brothers now in most Michaels, but I think the Lobby Where You Hobby and a bunch of different places have framing centers in them. I know Jerry's does. And there's, of course, lots of framing shops near you. But what's really economical for you is you go in, these are standard sizes, so you find the frame size that matches it, and you pick a molding. It's a fancy word for the wood they used in the frame that you like. I think sometimes simple is great, like a black molding, and you get that. Now, it can have glass in it or not have glass in it. That's completely fine. And then what you're going to do is you're going to purchase a framing kit. So you want something to wire the back of your canvas. So you'll need like a screwdriver some way or an electric a screw gun to get the little screws in, right? And the wiring kit. And you're also going to get something called clips, framing clips. And it's just a spring-loaded clip that allows you to clip the frame on the canvas. And then you wire at the third point right here across the surface. Oh, thank you, my darling. Then you wire across the surface, the stretchers, but do those into the back of the canvases, not the frames. Because the frames are just clipped in. And then the surface will absolutely hold the weight. The frames will stay on beautifully. It's very economical. If you've never framed before, it's super easy. I think most places will even help you find all those tools. Hopefully that's helpful.
It is helpful.
Probably should make a video about it. Probably should, but didn't. So there you go.
We'll do that next.
We'll do that next. How to frame this stuff. Really cheap and easy for beginners. Yeah. Because there's a lot of ways to frame, and some of them are incredible. Like, I had a bunch of my stuff framed by a place, DeSolo Art and Glass. I think they're still open in Houston. And they did such a good job framing my Teutons that they survived a fire, a house fire, and the fire department putting it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's
awesome.
what good framing is.
They were sealed inside.
They were museum quality framed, and they were sealed, and they did survive the worst thing that could happen to art. And it was my only art that survived the fire at all. I lost the entire collection except my only Teutons.
Yep.
It was bittersweet, including all the artwork my mom had given me. And now I'm going to tear up. But anyways, that's why you do good framing at a framer. That's what that is for.
Yeah.
But if you're not trying to survive a fire or create, like, the Teutons are very valuable, and I wanted them to be safe and protected, and so I went that extra mile for those. And sometimes you will have art that you want to take that extra mile. Honestly, I think all my kids' art is that worth it, and I tend to frame my kids' art better than my own art because I don't want anything to happen to it.
I get it.
Because that's my most precious stuff. I'll drop all of my china and all my collectibles and grab the mugs my kids gave me.
Mary asks,
Hi, Mary.
Says, well, if you would do how to frame concept art, she'd go bananas.
It's bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-S. It's bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-S. By the way, there's merch. If you go to the Teespring store,
Yeah.
I created an entire merch line for the concept art.
Just to reward you guys for being part of
I
that
just,
adventure.
wanted you to have something after the fruit flies had gone.
It's true. It's
Which, in my mind, I'm playing the Eagles song.
no. So
Voice of summer after the fruit flies have gone. Anyways, my husband's been here a minute. He gets his wife's crazy.
I do. And the let's see, there was another little thing that came up here that someone said. Oh, it was Anessa. She says,
"Hi, Anessa, sweetheart. How are you?"
She wanted to remind me that I'm supposed to try to shake you because we're almost at 1,000 people.
Hello. How are you, YouTube? I hope you're being creative today. We are. That's what we do all the time.
It's true. We are.
I think we're only here because YouTube thinks we're dorky and lame and isn't worried about us.
I probably agree with that, yeah.
YouTube Inc. is like, I don't know what they're doing, but it's not a problem for us advertisers or the CAPA, so let them live.
This is it, like the emperor, the thumbs up and thumbs down.
I
You
swear,
shall pass.
that is what the platform feels like these days. Rome. Okay, boom, 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 boom. And right down to when they used to fill a Coliseum and put wildlife in it and stuff like that. So I just feel like that sums up YouTube. The Wild West being too orderly.
Yes. We're like YouTube gladiators on the paint frontier of.
Yeah, but nobody wants to fight us because we're in that one unranked ring.
That's right. There's no actual prize for winning.
They're like, I don't get what they're doing over there, but it's not a problem for us. Yay! So just continuing to make the many, many needles of green. Many, many needles of green.
And Patty celebrating your 1,000 Sherpa dance.
I'm going to do it again. It's bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. It's bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. If we get sued, I'll be right back with another video. I don't even know how I feel about that. Copyright infringement?
No. We're pretty. And
I'm
someone
going
was
to go
asking.
for the fair use right there.
Well, between the fair use of you taught a technique.
I did. I taught a technique.
And between
and you can't copyright a technique.
Between teaching a technique and parody, I think this is well covered.
No, it's super serious.
Because you didn't joke.
Actually, it did get serious right after. We were like, aha! And then it got all serious. And so now we have to be like, concept art is real.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
If you have been enjoying the shenanigans today, man, you have to go over to the Art Sherpa Retreat YouTube channel and follow it. Our old live stream is going, but after this, something new is going to happen. It's going to go with the newsletter that you're going to get, and you are going to scream in joy.
Yes, it's awesome.
Or maybe in rage. I don't know. Sometimes I scream in rage. This one lady did a video. Wait. I got to tell you something. I'm sorry. Oh. I have to. Hang in with me. Don't click away.
Tell us, Sherpa.
So this lady who did diamond painting did a video about that. She had to pull down 70 of her videos because of copyright infringement.
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking about being on Alibaba and about how she was buying from these reputable dealers who would never steal from artists. And I scared John and my kids because I went, because I get so much of my stuff stolen there.
What was funny is that in the next breath, the lady said, and now I've learned that nobody pays for the licenses. She's and they steal everything.
Nobody on this place is paying for any of the artwork. They're stealing for all the artists. And I was like, you live today.
She was actually really cool because she was taking down all of the...
She was cool. Actually, I went this whole range of feelings, but there was this primal scream that
when she first heard, that everyone he pays all of their licensing fees and just takes care of the artist. She was just like, she almost threw her cup at the screen.
I did. It was like being a football fan for like a half a second. All right, I'm going to highlight this stuff. You guys ready?
I'm ready.
I'm going to take my green and my yellow and make that nice bright lit up color. And then I'm going to light the boughs that I think would be impacted, right?
Yep.
By the light. Yeah, no, I did. I wish I could remember who that. I would shout her out like directly because I really appreciated the video she made. And then I appreciated that she took the content down. Now, an artist actually did a copyright strike on her for doing the diamond art, which I didn't wholly agree with. Like, if you're an artist and you'd like directly take my art, yeah, we might have a conversation. But if you're just somebody who bought a kit and you're doing it, I'm probably not going to come try to destroy you. I'm going to continue to destroy the company and try to steal my artwork, but not the poor person that bought a kit.
Yeah, go after the...
Not my style. But she was so classy about it. I was actually really, really touched. If you know the YouTuber I'm talking about, you can go tell her that she made the Art Sherpa feel a whole lot better because the diamond painting is the bane of my existence on top of print-on-demand Amazon flip-flops. I don't really know why all my artwork works on flip-flops.
And
they've started using my name now?
It's just crazy.
It's just crazy. Crazy. Light up your things while raging against the machine.
Well, I'm actually super like, I'm into this whole thing here. So
what, the lighting or the raging against the machine? What are you specifically into,
I think
sir?
all of it.
All of it?
Yeah, because there's a bit of the conversation to have here.
You're having a whole conversation online too that I don't get to hear. So I feel like if you think about this drop off, it would definitely maybe hit like the tip of this bough a bit, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what you're trying to think about. Imagine, that's what your imagination is for, where the light might fall. It wouldn't fall solidly everywhere because it doesn't go through objects, right?
Yeah. We're jumping all over the place.
Yeah, I'm just trying to kiss it. Like you do. Take that in, baby.
Yeah.
That's not bad, right?
No, that looks really awesome.
Pretty cool beans.
And this is coming together fast. It's coming together pretty fast.
Yeah, it does. It's a pretty, I'm pretty honest about the beginner friendly stuff. Like sometimes you guys don't agree with me, but sometimes you guys are like, this is not for beginners. I don't know really what you're talking about here at all. So I'm going to take my just yellow and I'm going to come to the inside of my flame. And I'm going to make these little sort of dashing marks. Can you see these?
Yeah.
And they follow what I initially had out here. And I'm going to plant a little firmer here and make sure the base is a little more solidly considered. And then I'm going to get some white, like you do. And add that little white inside the flame. Doesn't that look awesome, sauce?
Oh, yeah.
Just really dig doing that. I dig it. I dig it. You know that I dig it. I'm going to go ahead and remove some of this chalk. Well, I need that chalk still. But remove some of the chalk. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to come down into my candle with some yellow. And I'm going to just come across a little bit and down some. Down some. It's a glowing, isn't it? Don't you feel the feeling of the holiday in your heart? In your heart, heart, heart. In your heart, heart, heart. I love being an artist. It's so much fun. I love being an artist because it's so much fun. Okay. Going to do the same thing that I did before.
Now, the traceable's not up yet, right?
Traceable's not up yet. Well, we up right after the show. Step by step and traceable will go right up. We just have this like special crazy release and newsletter we had to get out, and it's a big juggle today. But it's a juggle I'm really happy to do. Happy to do, if I may say so myself.
Mm-hmm.
Happy. Because the king can. All right, so I'm going to continue to do the white there on that inside, making that just a glow. Oh, It's glowing. Now I feel like this candle needs just more glow overall. I don't feel like it really tried hard enough. So we're going to come back and make it try harder. Try. I got to stop being silly about it. You know what? When you're painting, you should have some sense of kind of joy and silliness and things that are ongoing through that process so that you really get the chance to enjoy what you're doing. I'm going to get some just yellow and do what I did over here. Very lightly on top. Who's got a glowing candle now?
Yeah.
My candles glow. Okay, so I'm going to get a little of my yellow. And I want it to be quite thin, so I'm going to sort of work it through my brush. And we're going to do an interesting thing. I might get just a smidge of my clean red. You know. And I'm going to... It might actually even help to have a glaze. You can do this dry brush, but I think this acrylic glazing liquid gloss would be my super duper friend. Or two. I'm going to show you where I'm going to get it without it, and then I'll show you where I'm going to do it with, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of see what you would expect for either. I'm just very gently brushing, see? If I don't have the gloss, that's what I'm doing. Radiating it out, even through here, guys. If I don't have the gloss. If I do have the gloss, I'm going to get that all in my brush. And I'm going to come through more like this. So whichever you have is fine. Just, you know, manage expectations that they might be a little bit different. And I'm curving these brush strokes around, aren't I? Look at those brush strokes, just a curvy around. What's a curvy around? Your yellow. And I bring that right up into my branches and down into my little candle here. Now I am going to want to have this be a little bit rich. I can just grab some of my orange closer to the flame. To soften it, I may go ahead and take a blending brush. I'm just going to grab my Princeton here. This is just a mop. You don't have to do this part of the technique, but it will soften the blend a bit, which can be nice. Not necessary, but can be nice. How's that looking, guys? Just being silly.
This is looking really nice.
Now I'm going to take a little of my white and a little of my yellow on the tip of my brush. And just give a little little spark that comes up that flame.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
A little bit right there. Can't help it. And a little touch of an extra pop. You see the extra pop?
I saw the little extra pop.
Extra pop. Pop, pop, pop. Extra pop. Pop, pop, pop.
You go.
Hmm?
You popped them up.
Popped them up. Now I'm going to take my white. I'm going to need some clean water, I think. Like, desperately.
All right.
It's starting to muddy my colors. It's a good time if you're painting at home to change your water. I'm going to add a bit of a reflection. And what this is about is the candle that's up here. So you're just adding that little touch of a reflection to talk about that candle that's right there. And I'm going to put a little bit of, stuff here, but I'm going to let it dry for a second. I just want to make sure I have both glows. It's a good time to go ahead and go through and clean up any of your chalk that you don't want that's here. That's just with a clean brush and water. How you get that. But again, the principles of how you glow a candle. Oh, don't touch your artwork, remain the same. Yep. I was like, yep. This is me. Ah. So awesome. Okay. Now, I'm about to move over here and do a similar thing that I did. Right? You've seen me do it with the dry brush. You see me do it with the glaze. I'm going to do it with the glaze over here as well.
Okay.
And I will take some of this, right? Go orange glaze first, and a little bit of yellow in it. And then glaze, glaze, glaze. Because I want it to be somewhat transparent. But it's okay that it's going to come over here and back. Right? Just glazing that around. If you have to dry brush, dry brush. And then if I want to, I can just smooth that out with a dry, soft brush. But if you don't have one, don't worry about it. It looks pretty good either way. Just a technique you can do. I like to show you all your options. There we go. So can you guys see the glow? Is the glow visible, babe?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, good. Sometimes the glow is hard to see, like if you're not like, now I can also take this sort of big brush and some of my glaze with a bit more of my like orange in it and also kind of define that a bit more if I feel like. If you feel like, yo. Too much white. Some white got in my brush. You know what I do?
Blend
it out. Yeah, do not panic, though. I just make it part of the... Remember Bob and his happy accidents? That's that nonsense he was talking about. You'll be painting along and then something crazy will happen to you. Happy accident. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a little of that yellow, kind of like super white, in that little hot spot reflection like I did right here.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty good. And this flame would reflect on that candle right there, wouldn't it? In a nice high reflection. See, just a little bit of a reflection that happens there. Now we have those candles. Already you have something that you can be kind of thrilled about.
Yeah.
And now I need to put in some ornaments, clean up any chalk that I'm missing, and get to that next part of... Get to the next part, guys. How you doing?
You're going to put some...
We're going to put some ornaments on here.
Ornaments and
We're
berries.
going to put some berries, and then we're going to add a little bit of snow on the candles. Actually, it might be a good idea to add the snow now, since we're here at the candles anyways. But I want to know how you guys are doing. Are you feeling your candle here?
Yes, I would say we've got over 1,100 people here who are definitely feeling this.
They feel it?
They feel it with all their Sherpa bones. I don't know where the Sherpa bone is.
The Sherpa bone is in your heart.
I think it's adjacent to the funny bone.
No, it's in your heart.
I don't know.
Sure, in your heart. I'm going to just brighten up these light reflections because I just feel like they weren't as strong as what was over here. And I want to balance them and make sure that they are as strong as what I'm seeing over here. All right, so that's an important thing to do, is make sure your light reflections on your little lines are as strong on both sides so the glow looks better. Better, guys. You want to snow?
All right.
You can take some white paint and a little blue, and you make this sort of like blue and white color, like a soft wintry sky blue. And we're going to come right here, and we're going to just tap up and down. And we're going to pretend that a little bit of snow, for whatever random reason.
There's snow on the fire.
Yeah, because that happens. You know what? Art. We just did conceptual art that shouldn't be too big of a journey.
The snow on yeah. All right, well, you know, it's warming itself by the fire.
Like Olaf. Let's just do the next right step, guys.
Sure. I don't. This is
best thing I've ever heard in a movie. It's like the people of Frozen made up for me for what they did to me all these years having a small girl when the first Frozen came out. Because I wasn't going to let it go. I was holding a grudge.
You're using two surfaces there. They're just adjacent.
Yeah, these are two 18 by 24 canvases. We tape them on the back with gaffing tape to hold them together during the painting process. And then during your final bit, they're framed. And hung on a wall. There we go. Isn't that great? Got a little bit of... Okay, come on. The snow on the candle. Wow, probably not factually correct. Super fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm waiting for that to have a little moment. Sure, I'm going to go ahead and get my little spark color, and I'm going to make some little sparks coming up here, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's fun to have little sparks. They come up our candle, makes them playful. Now, I kind of don't need it to dry all the way. I just need it to be a little bit tacky. No art critic jokes right now. And I'm going to take my white paint and paint the top of my snow. I come to this outer edge and I kind of highlight it, just tapping my brush up and down. I can even make a sort of inner lip. And you can see now I have shaded snow. Let's back up. Look, shaded snow.
Dimensional snow.
Dimensional snow. I can do what I want to do. It's my canvas. All right. So two-dimensional snow papers. Everything else is kind of dried. So I should be able to start putting in my bulbs. Now, initially I used my pouncers and did the twirl technique to get the circles in, but this canvas is so big that my biggest pouncer isn't quite big enough. So I'm going to just take a chalk pencil and a cup, and I'm going to hang some ornaments using my kid's sippy cup. Shh, don't tell her. What she doesn't know, she can't complain about a lot.
Well, you just need to have some...
Here.
You just need some round shapes to... Oh,
I'm just looking for where I want to put it. It's like I want to put it out here more. Do I want to put it in here more? You got to find that balance. Whoops, that's not good. Just put it back. Sometimes this part is a bit of a coordination challenge.
Try and look over your shoulder to see what you're doing.
There you go. I got one in there. Let's put one down here. Let's tuck one in the leaves. We'll have to paint some more leaves around it. But we don't mind, do we? We're happy to do it. Why do I trace around the cup? Because my freehand circles just suck.
Because you can make round things easy that way.
Yes, it does make my round things. Make all round things just a little bit easier. You can do more ornaments than I do. I'm not going to be all mad at you. That's fine. I'm not going to come in your house and be like, no, too many ornaments. You know, trim your pine boughs how you feel like you need to.
You do you.
You do you, yo. Speaking to that end, I'll go ahead and dip my brush in water, load up in some of my Daily Blue paint, and just start to paint the first layer of my ornaments in. Just everywhere. We're going to paint all ornaments blue. So it's a nice time to take more questions if we need to, because now we're painting the ornaments blue.
Let me turn my mic back on. I was drinking coffee.
I envy you. I'm going to drink coffee right after this episode.
Are you?
Yeah.
Let's see. Hey, Leslie was noticing you're very singy today.
I am singing today. I've been watching musicals late at night.
What's that?
I've been watching musicals late at night.
Oh, that's true. That's why I fall asleep so quickly.
That is. You're like, they go, can, and you're like, can't, go to sleep now. But I've been like power watching my musicals. Because you know what's coming back out? Cats.
You know what I didn't see the first time around?
Cats. I'm not new. I'm I'm new to some people who've come by here today wondering what this live channel is about, going, why?
You know the musical that I did like?
Which musical did you like?
Moulin Rouge.
You did like Moulin Rouge, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you did.
But
what musical did you hate? And you're not allowed to say Annie that's because you and your sister have a complicated relationship. Sorry. I should stop making faces that don't make good gifts or screenshots.
I think it was just Annie came out during a time frame when, I was like old enough that my sister, it was like the Barney of my time. My sister was just, or the, the SpongeBob or the Rugrats or the, I'm sure that there's even
You've
more.
just compared Annie to Rugrats and Barney, but that's cool.
But the topical thing that kids like to watch over and over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
And I just had zero patience for that early on.
I really loved Frozen 2, though.
Yeah, you mean like that same thing? You could just do that. Yeah, that Elsa thing. There's just another version of that.
Not Frozen 1. No, I actually liked the movie Frozen 1, but then my daughter sang the song, and then we got the Build-A-Bear that had the song in its little foot, and we had the doll that had the song, and we had some microphones, and all of them could play at the same time. So it's a lot.
Yeah,
it was a lot.
When they start making all of the musical toys work together, it's a wonderful experience for the child, but they're not audiophiles. They put the worst possible speakers in these things, so it's just shrill.
Yeah. Do you remember the Little Mermaid we had that sang under the water?
Oh, gosh.
That was the best thing.
In multiple languages, too.
In multiple languages. She was a multilingual mermaid.
French, Spanish, and English.
And she lit up. She was actually I've not seen a toy that cool in a long time.
That's actually kind of cool. Yeah, it's a long time.
So when you have all your ornaments blue, ornament bleu, we're going to add a little bit of white to our color mix, and we're going to create a value just a shade or two lighter than the first layer of blue that you put on. And you're going to come here and you're going to just kind of very lightly on the outside edge talk a little bit about this blue. Not all the way around, At first, you're just kind of coming here.
So Mono's like, Xanadu. I'm like, I don't know. Xanadu was much more of a disco rock opera.
You remember the one about the pinball kid?
Oh,
Sure plays a mean pinball. That was really good. That was like kind of like a movie rock opera. That was like everything. Now you just want to bring this down here, and then very carefully you're gonna bring the brush strokes round. See how I'm doing that? They're kind of rounded towards this side, and then as you come through, you're gonna switch the direction. And then when you have that, and you've got the dark, wipe out your brush. Don't rinse it. I wipe it out, and then I come back with just the pure paint and finish out the ball. And that's how it's easier to get the ball shading. Now you have a shaded ball. Shaded ball. Do you like your shaded ball? I don't know.
I mean, you're going to do a few of them here.
We're going to do a few of them, and then we have to come back and put like one highlight and one shadow, but that's at the last part, so don't stress on it.
It's interesting because a lot of the movies that I like were very musical, but they weren't musicals. Like, they had people singing in them, but they weren't musicals.
It happens.
So it's like, where do they fall? They're just like sort of weird musically performed also thing? Like music videos. Like,
man, music videos were awesome.
They still are. It's one of my favorite artistic expressive mediums.
So now something to think about when you're lighting your balls. gonna laugh. So where's the light? So where's the highlight going to be? So here, right? I'm just telling you guys where it is. So when you're shading, keep in mind, and I'll do it over here so you can kind of see it. Lights here, that means the highlight's going to be here. Lights here, that means the highlight will be here. Just something to keep in mind when you're shading your balls.
Okay.
Shade your balls, keeping in mind where your light source is. Don't shade your balls thoughtlessly. Don't you do it now.
No, how you handle your balls is important.
It is. All right. I know we're trying not to get nailed by COPPA, but we may be going too far. Snowpiercer, Snowpiercer, Snowpiercer. I'm just doing that. Doing that. Tammy, Tammy, Tammy's in love. All right. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. When you have it that far, guess what you get to come back and do?
What's that?
You get to come back and highlight those little spots that I told you. Those highlighting. Do you love it?
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
You can see I just sort of make these little spots of light, and that's the hot spot that it would catch, right?
Yeah.
There. And then you've got your little balls in. Now, when that's all rinsed out, if you want to come back with just a little bit of your pure blue, and you can come here in this sort of like mid spot. It's a nice way to add a shadow that informs how round the balls are as well. So that's all it takes to do those balls. Get your balls done. Now, while we're here, we're going to get a little bit of our brown onto our brush, as you would. I'm still using my number 8 cat's tongue. And let's put up some berry branches. Let's say we've got a berry branch that comes out here. Little branch kind of going to the right. Maybe comes up there. You can add, if you're having a little trouble with coverage, you can add just a smidge of black to improve the coverage. Too much and it won't show, so you've got to be careful.
So this is some sort of like holly berry?
This is like a little holly berry. There we go, a little holly berry. Can you see your holly berries?
I think the holly berry stem. There's no berries yet.
Maybe add a little yellow to it. Just want to be able to see my holly berries. And then I can come in also bring out maybe a second little branch. There we go, some holly berries.
Yeah. There's the holly berry stem thing. You have the infrastructure for berries.
You gotta give it the infrastructure for some berries. It just it can't give you berries unless you give it a place to put berries.
Berries can't just be roguely wandering around, free berrying it.
Don't free berry. I'm gonna bring one here, I think. And I'm going to let those have a little dry,
Okay.
as they will want to. As they will want to much. Go ahead and put out a little of my yellow ochre. And we're going to start talking about our pine cones. Still using this brush here. And I'm going to use a little bit of chalk just real quick to talk to you about your pine cones.
Okay.
So like say we're going to have a pine cone that's right here. This is the basic shape our pine cone is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to have a little friend maybe pointing down. Little pine cone could pop over here. There we go, pointing up. Kind of looks like an old vintage Christmas light bulb shape. First color that we're going to do is a little brown and a little black. It's our darkest value. I'm going to load up my brush quite full of paint.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to come here and pull a little bit of the pine cone. We'll clean up the chalk when we get the chance. As I come back, I can go a little bigger. And I might get even a little more black into my pine cone mix. See how easy it is to do the pine cone?
This looks pretty straightforward.
It is very straightforward. Pine cone 1, achieved. Unlocked. Let's unlock pine cone 2. Similar thing. Thick paint is very good for this technique.
Now,
And you can see I'm layering this pine cone on top of that pine cone.
What's it called when your paint gets real thick?
Impasto.
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 That's a Italian word.
When
It
you
seems
scrape away the paint, it creates my favorite art word, sgraffito.
That's the
I don't
scratch.
do sgraffito very often as a technique. I just like the word.
No, sgraffito is when you scratch off thick paint.
That's right. That's when you scrape away the paint. You sgraffito the paint.
So you go impasto before you go sgraffito.
Well, actually, you can sgraffito off of thin layers too.
Oh, but that's not as fun to
My
say.
mom is a big fan of sgraffito. I think she just calls it scraping, but I don't think she gets all crazy like I do, where I'm like, sgraffito! Imagine being her in her studio and I'm coming by going, sgraffito! Now, as I come to the end, I'm going to definitely bring these little kind of strokes around a bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then file that in, filling it in. Now I have a pine cone over here. Gotta do the same over here, but it's a lone cone. Don't forget your lone cone. He's a lonely, lonely cone. So be nice to him. He doesn't want to be all alone. Honestly, I think the bigger one is much better than a study. By about 1,000 miles.
Yeah. Little centuries.
It is fun to paint a big canvas. Who's excited about the spring one? I'm so excited about the spring one.
There was a question.
I think the spring one should have butterflies and birds. It might go 2-3 hoot again.
Annette was asking if is it better to hang these side by side?
I feel that it's best to hang them as they're displayed here, but in 2 frames.
Now,
I think that looks like $1 million. I think that like blows people's minds.
Do you want to like butt it next to each other or space between them? Like how much space?
I like to put about this much space. You're aware that it's 2 canvases, but clearly they go together, and in your mind's eye they make a finished piece. That's a preference. I've seen them actually framed. Framers who do it in the shop may actually butt these together and hold them both canvases within the frame. Is an interesting thing that can happen. There isn't like something where it's like, oh, well, you framed that wrong because you've already done a dip ditch, right? You've already done that on 2 canvases, so nobody's allowed to tell you, oh, that one came out really good. That was a really good pine cone. I like these pine cones.
They do. They turned out nice.
Pine cones. So much. I like the pine cones. All right. So while these should be ready to take the next layer, right, which is going to be a little bit of my yellow ochre and my brown. And sometimes I like to get a smidge. This is so weird. I like to get a little smidge of the red into it. All right. So here we go. A little bit lighter. See how it starts to make the little pine coney shapes?
Oh, yeah.
It happened. Now, as I come back, I'm going to be a little lighter with it because that creates the shading of that one pine cone to the other pine cone. Pine cones don't have to be miserable to paint. I could probably like how to paint a simple pine cone video too. Ah, drop.
What'd you drop?
I dropped too much water from my brush and it caught on this piece.
Oh, I see. I was like wondering what was going on there.
So what was happening there is I had loaded too much water into my brush and I wasn't being thoughtful and the gravity was pulling the moisture out of the paint, as you can see here.
Oh, yeah.
Not terminal. Pretty easy to fix considering the next layer, but it's a thing that's happening. Pine cones.
Turned out pretty good.
You're still pining along. Over here? Should I give you a minute? You're good. Okay, you're good.
I'm looking over here and I'm seeing Patty. She's out here celebrating that we've got over 1,200 viewers, almost 1,300 viewers here watching with us right now.
This is so great to have you all. Listen, where's everybody from? How many people are currently painting? Like, tell us stuff about yourself. Is it your first time to paint? Love to know it. Are you thinking of taking it up? Is this like you painted a long time and you just thought, oh, yay, an art stream, finally we're represented on the platform? Also cool. Where are you from? What are you doing? What's your favorite art material? Just tell us something about yourself.
Yeah, and we would love to see your artwork.
Very much.
Please
I want to
share
see
it up
your artwork.
Yeah, share it up with us on our Facebook page.
I'm most excited about your artwork. There you go. Little pine cone there. Guess what's next?
It looks like we need some berries.
Not yet.
No?
Because we got to do our little deep orange on here.
Oh.
I need a little more yellow out. It needs to be a little brighter. Brighter, 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 brighter. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to get some more yellow into that. That's the value that I'm going for. Still, everything's on the tip of this brush. Because what is happening up top? That we can talk about. The light. All right. Gotta show the little light.
While you're putting those on there, I'm going to say thank you to Patty and to all of our patrons out there who help support us on the channel. We really appreciate you guys. We couldn't do this without your help.
We can do what we do, the crazy stuff that we do, because you guys are here. And remember, like, all of our patrons are super appreciated, but patronage, like, I'm going to shout out a couple people, like Ann Keel. I consider her a patron because she always shares a video. Mm-hmm. She always has a kind comment for other artists. She's always lifting up the art vertical, not just here on this channel, but around in general. There are amazing people. Mona, we all know Mona. So there's lots of ways to be that.
Oh, yeah.
Lots and lots of ways, and they're all important, especially to our vertical on our platform. Because artists need the love. Oh, no, don't take away my AC.
You're trapped inside the box. I'm next to the refrigerator.
Little bits were escaping from the side. So I'm just creating these little highlights, if you guys are kind of catching it, that imply that the light from the candles are what?
Lighting those up, huh?
Shining down, lighting them up. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow ochre and maybe some of my white. And I'm going to come here. I might want to do a smaller brush, but we'll see how I do on this one.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Just a little highlight on our branches can help them pop. Little highlights. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. Here we go. Just improving the flow. And all I'm doing is just making this nice little highlight. So that my branches have a little more contrast to the background. I can always come back through with just some plain burnt sienna and kind of strengthen that composition. See how I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
So with wood, layers is always our friend. I had some big art quests on wood, but really that's basically the thing. Layers, 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 layers. Textures and layers. Textures and layers. All right. So we have all these berries to do, and there's a lot of ways that we could do it. We could paint out individual little berries and little dots, and that is completely okay. But one of the things that I very much like to do is to use my Q-tips to get berries done. And I think in this particular case, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to take a little bit of my paint here, and I'm going to add some water to it from my mister. And I'm going to look all around for an artist knife, which I shouldn't be missing, but somehow am. I must be washing every single one I own. Like every one I own is washing right now.
I'll look around over here.
Nah, I'll find something.
I see one.
Oh, do you? Okay, so John's going to give me an artist knife. When you're trying to thin your regular heavy body paint or modify it in some way, it helps to have an artist knife because you can have an easier time. Perfect. Because you have an easier time incorporating the water into the paint and therefore thinning it so it's a little more like the consistency of craft paint. So that's what I'm going to do here is I'm just taking that. You can see there's quite a lot of water surrounding it, but as I work the knife, I can incorporate that moisture very easily into my paint. You could also just use craft bottle paint for this. But if you only had the one thing and you're like, man, I really got to just use what I got, this is how you would do that. This is how you would thin it. And you can continue to thin that all the way down to it's the same consistency as fluid paint here. Both would work. Now, normally, I'm a big fan of bundling my Q-tips with a rubber band, so it's a little easier on me, but we couldn't find any. So I'm going to just hand hold them. And I think I'm going to do a bundle of like, say 4. Like I told John, it's going to be a journey, but we'll get through. So this is what I'm going to do. See, I made the little diamond?
Yeah.
Tap up and down.
Make it over there. Shh. Hold on a second. I moved the wrong camera, so I can't see what you're doing. Hold on just a second. Let me move my right camera.
It's just an easier way to make the berries. But again, you can paint them individually at a time.
There we go. Now I can see what you're doing.
Now, these are regular Q-tips. I have a whole article on how to paint better with Q-tips. I do think that the makeup Q-tips are better as an overall art material than the ear swabs, just because the wrap of the cotton is tighter. And I have done a lot of Q-tip videos, so I would know. Not like demos where like I fake it, but like lessons where I explain it. So, I mean, we have been into the depths, right?
It's true.
Of the Q-tip reality of this as a medium. And you see, they kind of do a neat thing when you use them. They almost shade themselves. Because as you press it down, there's the outer ring of thick paint and then the inner ring of less thick paint.
I'm going to, oops. There you go. I'm
going to
zoom in on.
Now I'm gonna come and maybe put some like here and then down. I'm gonna be moving down.
So I'm gonna come over your right shoulder here and kind of show this from the main screen camera, so they can see how straight on those dots.
I'm coming down to right here.
Yeah.
Just get where this pointing finger is. There you go. You good? Now I'm still got the same bunch in my hand. And so you can really see how it just does that thing. Now, at some point, it's going to get fluffy and mushy, and you may want to change it. I'm still good, so I'm going to keep going. Look at that. Very, 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 very good. Strawberry shortcake would be so proud of you. Honestly, like this so much.
So much. Ear got loose?
Yeah. Now I'm layering a bit in front of that bulb, and you can see that creates some space within my surface where the Christmas ornaments then, or ornaments, they don't have to be anything in particular. You could have ornamented for any reason that you want. Not here to instruct you. Still pretty good. That looks good, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to give those a rest. I'm going to get 4 more fairly good conditioned little Q-tips. Show you a really disgusting trick. If you can't get the makeup ones and you get the fluffy ear ones before they've ever been in your ear and they're clean from the package, you can do what I call mouse sizing.
You should
Super gross.
You should generally paint with pre-eared Q-tips.
I answer questions on the internet, and my responses here reflect things that I've had to answer. So if I say, don't use ones you put in your ears, it means I've answered that question.
And I'm going to thank Angie, who's sharing a cup of coffee with you, cinnamon and little stickers. Thank you, Angie.
Angie's like, oh my God, get that woman a cup of coffee. John's so funny. He's like, I don't know why you would even answer that. Because I've answered it before. I'm like those people in that insurance ad. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
That's true.
Dun, 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 dun. I hear that music when I answer those types of questions. By the way, I don't mind. I'm never offended. It's just questions that I have to answer in my given day. And I recognize something. You can never assume what people know or should know, because you cannot know what another person's experience has been. The things that they have been exposed to or not exposed to can be very varied. So it's just best to sort of roll with it and answer the questions that come in as you can.
There are no stupid questions, only stupid answers.
Yeah, there are some stupid answers. Now, that doesn't mean that sometimes in my group I don't get controlling. Like, sometimes when somebody asks about how can I seal my painting, I will start to answer that and shut down the stuff. Because so many people will suggest things like white glue or Mod Podge, not their varnish by Plaid, but the actual Mod Podge. And that isn't a good sealant. And I don't want to have to answer that like 100 times on each person who says you should use that. So then I just answer, hey, these are the different ways you can seal a painting or not have to seal a painting. By the way, interesting fun fact, certain companies like Plaid have a consumer hotline that they actively answer. Well, they will answer your product questions.
Yeah.
And I know that because I have called them and said, what's the deal?
And they told you.
And they told me.
They were like, it's hydroscopic. You don't want to use it as a sealant.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And most of those companies produce the safety data sheets on their website that you can read if you ever have a worry. So now I have these beautiful berries everywhere, don't I?
Yep.
I'm going to take a little of my fluid white paint and I'm going to put it out.
What you going to do with that fluid white paint?
I'm going to get it on my little round brush. Did I ever pull out a number 4 round? If I didn't, I am now. If I didn't have one out earlier, I'm going to get one now. Okay, so here's a number 4 round. I just want something that gives me a good point. I'm going to dip it right in that fluid paint. And then a couple of places here on the berries. I don't have to do every berry, guys. And we can take some questions while I'm doing most of the berries, but not every berry.
Mm.
But the idea is I'm going to put those reflections, and that's going to help them feel like amazingly lush, delicious berries. Notice that my dot is at the front of the circle.
I do.
And I'm trying to pay attention to where do I feel the light would hit that berry. Okay, so that's what we're doing. We can take a bunch of questions while I bury it up because I'll be here for a second.
So Neil was just asking, is there another way to bury other than just the, what do you call it there?
The Q-tips?
The Q-tips. You just round it.
Yeah. Just do a round one, or do a round, paint them in one at a time. And that is also good. You can do that as well. See?
You could go in and just individually
if
bury.
If I do that, we will be here for 5 hours. So.
Yes.
But if you would prefer to do that, I'm not going to be upset at it. I'm not going to be like, you didn't use the technique that I talked about in my lesson. And so therefore, you lose I don't know what I would do. I actually can't do that much on YouTube. I don't really have any tools. Like, I can't really. I can't say someone can't watch my shows. Just interesting fun fact. If you're not able to watch my channel, it wasn't me. I don't have that tool. They don't give it to creators.
They're like, you don't get to choose.
I can make your comments invisible to all, but that's all I can do. I think that's the meanest moderation tool on the planet. You feel like you're commenting, but no one will ever see it. So I'm sure there's all kinds of people who are going, blah, 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 Sherpa, blah, blah, hate, blah, blah, cuss words, cuss words, cuss words. And they're like, why is no one responding?
They know.
I don't think they know.
Could you use a dotting tool for this?
You could totally use the dotting tool for this.
That's not going to make any difference.
You're just trying to make a very small reflective dot on your berries where and just change the orientation of the reflection to the light source is all I'm suggesting. Why do I bother with those little touches is because it teaches you higher art concepts that later, when you get into more complicated techniques, will benefit you. And you'll start making, I'm like Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off. I'm like, light the berry where the light would be. And then you're like, dot, 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 dot. And later you're like, I can paint glass. I don't know why you would do a maniacal laugh because you could paint glass. I do. But I'm not trying to assume that on you.
Because you've conquered the glass.
You conquered it. It did not faze you. You like glass? You have not challenged me. Water reflections. Ha ha! I see the light source. We did a class on Facebook that's Bean Man Explains Light.
That's true.
And it's just these little bean men with the sun in different locations, and you just draw them in all these crazy positions and then light them. It's really fun, but it does explain lighting and how it works. These very intense art concepts don't have to be so overwhelming that new painters can't pick them up. Sometimes people make them that way, but they don't have to be that way. Can you see the little reflections from far away?
Yes.
They should look like little points of light. Like I told you, lighten some berries for a while.
That worked.
Yeah. But again, you have to light every berry, just get a general sense of berry. You could light every berry. You could be like, all of these berries are lit.
You could
it's all good.
Individually created and lit berries. But they look pretty good like this. They look, with that Q-tip technique.
Yeah, it works pretty well. It's pretty all right. It's pretty solid, yo. Okay, so as we're coming to the end of this, right?
Yeah.
You're going to want to be ready for the newsletter. Check your spam. Do stuff. If you don't find it, support at theartsherpa.com will help you, right? Sometimes our thing does a thing where it doesn't want to send any, it has some sort of safe mailing where it doesn't spam people. So I don't know. That can infect whether you get it. John can explain that weird technology.
I dropped if you're not getting the newsletter, you can check your notification settings. I dropped a link here in the description for that. You may have those settings turned off. There could be other things in there. So you can check that out when you log on to theartsherpa.com. Just check your account settings under notifications.
Because there'll be some stuff coming for you today.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my pink.
We'll mirror that information on the blog so that if for whatever reason you don't see
I can put it on the blog. Yeah, that's totally doable.
Yeah,
I can totally do that.
That way it's not a problem. So you just log in the website and check the blog and you'll see all that stuff mirrored up there as well. We generally do that though. We generally mirror the newsletter on the blog just that way in case you're having trouble getting the email, you can check it out there.
Yeah, so check the blog, check our event page. If you want to have crazy times like this with me in person, I got an art retreat coming up in 2020 that you can come to.
And a Twix who's losing her mind for a delivery.
She's seen a cat. Or delivery. Or my dad who's visiting. One of those things has shown up.
What you doing next?
I'm signing.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Make sure I'm missing. Yeah,
Where to sign?
I'm going to come over here. And this is a #1 monogram liner. It's one of my very favorite brushes in the world. And I like it to sign with, but I like it for details and all kinds of things like that. So this is, I'm going to go forward because it's so,
It's a pretty paint.
it's a big one. So basically, this is how easy it is to paint big. You can be new to painting. It's okay to take on a big canvas every once in a while. It's okay to take on those big challenges. You are up to them, right? And remember that you're learning and you're never going to be like a beginner again. So really take the time instead of criticizing yourself for every mistake. Celebrate every technique you master. Jump up and down for every good thing that happens because this is a special time in your life. Keep watching here. Check the retreat channel. Check for your newsletter. Thank you for all of your support in all the ways that it comes. I love my stickers. But I also love my shares and kindness and comments. It's all so important, especially nowadays. Be good to yourself. Be good to each other. And I want to see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye.